just joshing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins. Sports in the top 10.
Hey everyone, my name is Khadija LaShawn. I hope you are doing safe and well right now. I am coming to you guys today with some tips around how to build and maintain credit, okay? And this is coming from a 24-year-old. I now have my own house. I got that last year, and I now have 2 cars. So I can give you these tips because these are the tips that I follow to get to where I am in life, to get my cars, to get my houses, my house. I will have houses in the future. Don't get me wrong. But and credit cards and stuff like that, loans. I just want to spread these tips because I feel like a lot of people are misinformed about how to build and maintain credit and how to, you know, keep your credit good over time, okay? So I have these tips for you guys. I hope that this is helpful for you. If you like what you see in this video, if you like the information you're receiving, please feel free to like this video and subscribe for more. This is going to be part 1 in my series of how to be financially literate. And there's a lot of things that go along with that. Credit is the biggest piece that is so important because it opens so many doors for so many people, okay? So let me get started. The first thing I want to say to everyone, and if you don't have this already, if you don't have a Credit Karma account, it is completely free, as well as an Experian account. I will list screenshots here of those types of accounts. So Credit Karma and Experian, they're both similar things. They basically tell you what your credit score is every day. You know, and they tell you what you're at anytime something pulls to your credit. Experian is much faster than Credit Karma, but they're both valuable tools because they also show you different credit cards that that you can basically qualify for. They look at your score, they look at everything involved in your score, and they say, hey, here's some credit cards, here's some loans you can apply for if you need them. However, before you apply for credit cards and loans, please watch till the end of this video because it's very important that you receive all the information around this, okay? So Credit Karma will tell you one of so many things. It will tell you your credit score right now, okay? But on top of that, it will tell you what makes up your credit score. Like what things are impacting your credit for the good, what things are impacting it for the bad, okay? So it will tell you how many accounts are tied to your name. It will tell you how many collections are tied to your name. And I will explain that in a second. Okay, it will tell you how long you've had credit for, how long you've had your accounts for, how much are you using those accounts, like have you maxed out your cards, are they low balances. It will tell you all the information that you need to know that explains why your credit score is the way you are, okay? So I will put a graph of a credit score right here so you guys can see what range everything is. I believe it's like below 500 is poor, you know, and then 500 to 650 I believe is fair, and then 650 and up is good, and then 800 is a perfect credit score, which is very rare, okay? Very rare. So the Experian and the Credit Karma accounts will tell you if anything is pulling to your credit that you are not aware of, okay? So when you sign up for Credit Karma, when you sign up for Experian, okay? Experian, I recommend Experian a little bit more than Credit Karma just because it tells you right then and there anytime your credit is pulled, anytime someone pulls something in your name, anything tied to your social security, it'll tell you right then and there. And you can log in and see if it was you or if it was someone else, okay? This is important because we are in a time and age where people are stealing identities like it's our information is so valuable, you know, our private information is so valuable and it's tied to you forever, okay? If you are an American, credit matters. It matters, okay? So what I will say is that with the Experian account, you know, when you sign up, look at all the accounts listed there. Look at all of them to make sure that they are accounts that you signed up for. And if they aren't, then you need to address them. You have to address them. You cannot avoid them. You cannot ignore them. The reason why I say this is because collections, okay, so let me explain what a collection is. If you have a credit card and you max it out, you spend $500 on a credit card and you never pay it back. So your credit card company will give you some time to pay them back. They will give you some time, but they will be marking late fees every time that you miss a payment. Late fees and late notices to the credit card agencies, okay? Not the credit reporting agencies, okay? So this is important to understand, because every time that you miss a payment or you are late for a payment, that pulls to your credit score, okay? Every time. This is credit cards, car loans, home loans, those type of things, okay? Utility bills and stuff like that are a little bit different. I'll explain a little bit later. But every time that pulls to your credit score, it impacts your credit score. It shows, is Khadijah a consistent payer? Does she pay on time? No, she doesn't pay on time. She missed this many payments over the past however many years. Late payments stay on your credit reporting for 7 years. 7 years. Okay? Collections stay on your credit reporting for 7 years. So the thing is that if you don't pay the credit card company, you never pay them. And this is a situation that happens to people involuntarily as well, okay? So I have had friends and family who have suffered from the consequences of their parents or their significant others signing up for credit cards in their name and not paying the bill. So those are the things that you need to know about, because they will impact your credit. Meaning, when you want to go sign up for a car loan, you want to sign up for a car loan, or you want to sign up for a credit card, or you want to sign up for a home loan, those things will pull and they will deny you, because they're like, oh, Khadijah has a collection in her name. I'm not so sure that I believe that she will pay this back, you know? So basically, check every account, make sure that every account belongs to you. If it does not belong to you, contact the company directly. Contact them directly and address it directly. Even if you can't fix it right then and there, tell them, hey, this does belong to me or it doesn't belong to me. I need it taken off my credit score. Okay? If it doesn't belong to you, you can say that. But if it does belong to you and you did sign up for it, you still need to address it. Okay? You need to say, hey, you need to communicate. And say, hey, I'm so sorry. Explain your situation and say, I'm so sorry I didn't pay this bill. Things happen, and explain why. You're talking to real people, okay? We all are people. We understand that things happen sometimes. We make mistakes. The thing is that until you own up to your mistake, they're just going to keep reporting to your credit and reporting in a bad way, okay? So in situations where someone signed up for your credit score without your permission, this is a hard situation, because if it is a family member or a significant other, it can be very complicated, because you don't necessarily, you're mad at that person for doing that to you, but you don't necessarily want them to go to jail for this, okay? So situations like that are very hard to deal with, but if you need direct consulting, direct help with how to navigate that type of situation, feel free to email me. My email is listed below. I also, I do have direct mentees who I help with building their credit and just helping them establish goals when it comes to, you know, the path to home ownership, the path to ownership in general. So what I have to say is that when you call those collection companies, make sure you are honest. Make sure you are honest, and even if you don't want to press charges, explain to them the situation. Tell them, hey, you know, my significant other did this to me and blah, 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 and explain, you know, so that they would be willing to work with you. Because the thing is, you can negotiate. You know, if you pay off the collection, you can set up a payment plan, you can set up however you want, but you have to communicate. You have to say, hey, yes, this happened. I need to address it. I need to do A, Z, whatever you need to do, address it so that it can be resolved and removed from your credit. You can ask that they will remove it from your credit. Sometimes they request that you send them a letter and detail exactly how it happens and everything. And if you guys need assistance with that, feel free to contact me. But yeah, like, collections are so, like, they're the #1 thing that prevents people from getting cars, prevents people from getting home loans, like a lot of things. So I say, you know, you have to address those things in order to move forward so that you can continue to build or rebuild your credit, okay? So collections, check for those. Absolutely check for those. Absolutely check for accounts that are currently open in your name. Make sure every account listed on your credit is something that you signed up for. If it is not, contact them directly and say, hey, I didn't sign up for this. Take it off my credit right now. I mean, we'll say it nicer than that, of course, but yeah. So Credit Karma and Experian, definitely great tools to use when it comes to building your credit and understanding your credit. Okay, that's something. Another thing that you can sign up for that will instantly boost your credit, because the thing is that the way to boost your credit, it's like a lot of different things that you can do. So one way of boosting your credit is getting approved for things, okay? Getting denied for things doesn't help you. So if you're signing up for things and signing up and you don't know what your credit score is, you don't know what it looks like, you're walking blindly, you know, like you're applying for things blindly. And the thing is that I've heard mixed stories, but you know, the way it's been in the credit reporting agencies is that, you know, when you have your credit pulled more than a certain amount of time, so like more than 3 times in a year is not good. You know, having your credit pulled, it tends to lower your score when you get it done too many times. But that is a thing of the past from what I'm hearing now. However, don't quote me on that because that is what I'm hearing. That's not necessarily anything I've seen in the articles because it's fairly new. But yeah, so applying for different credit, you know, the thing is that if you're applying for credit, apply for credit all at the same time. Don't apply for one this month, another next month, another following month, another, because that's too close in time. They want you to apply for things within like a 6 months to 12 month time frame. Okay, so if you're gonna apply for 3 credit cards, apply for them all at the same day so that they all pull at the same time, so that it's one quick, you know, easy. But if you're applying for things continuously over the course of time, you know, like try to space it out if possible, okay? So yes, getting approved for things is good. Something that everybody is guaranteed to get approved for is a Fingerhut account, okay? You don't have to use it. You can use it if you want to. Just having the approval on your credit will, you know, boost your credit. You don't have to use it. Fingerhut is basically, I'll put a screenshot here. It's basically like Amazon, but on credit. So they'll give you like, oh, here's $500 worth of credit. You can buy anything from our store and you can pay it off over time and whatever. So that is something that you can use to build your credit that pretty much everybody gets accepted for. It doesn't matter what your credit score is. It's designed for rebuilding your credit. So that's something you can do. The thing about credit in general is that you want to show a consistent history of payments on time or early. You do not want late payments on your credit at all. If you can avoid it, do not pay late, okay? But if you cannot avoid it, communicate. Communicate, guys. You have to communicate, okay? Call your credit card up, your credit card company up. Hey, Discover, I'll be honest, coronavirus happened. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pay this on time. Can you please work with me so we can, you know, push this back a month, you know, whatever. Negotiate, work with them, talk to them directly so that you can make sure your credit stays good, okay? Another thing, another tip I have for you guys as far as keeping your credit, maintaining credit, and building credit is when you get approved for a credit card or a loan or whatever, not a loan, more so credit cards. If you get approved for a credit card for $500, okay? That does not mean spend the full $500. It is a trick, guys. It is a trick. When you max out a card, it actually negatively impacts your score. The reason why is that basically there's this thing called revolving utilization, okay? Revolving utilization is basically how much of the balances that you are allowed are you using? Are you using 100%? Are you using 50%? Are you using 30%? What percentage of the credit that you have been allowed to have are you using? Okay? This is something that I need to explain to you guys. Do not max out your cards. Do not max out your cards. Okay? The reason why I say that is because when your revolving utilization is high, it makes your credit score go down. Understand? So if you have a $500 credit card, if you have a $500 credit card, only use 30% of that $500. That's $150. So this requires discipline. Discipline, guys. I have my faults, okay? Don't think that I always 100% have always followed these rules. These are the rules I know I need to follow if I want to maintain and rebuild. Well, my credit's good. If I want to maintain good credit, okay? So 30%. That should be your cap for any credit card that you get approved for. I would say do not apply for more. I wouldn't have more than 3 credit cards if you don't need it, you know. The reason why I say that is because credit cards are, it's so easy to swipe on money that's not yours technically. You know, it's so easy to be like, oh, let me just swipe, I'll pay it back later. Let me just swipe, I'll pay it back later. Do not spend more money than what you have in your pocket. Okay? This is discipline. It requires discipline to have good credit. It requires discipline to maintain good credit, okay? So what I would say is that in general, when you're spending, I wouldn't spend more than what you have or what you plan on having that month. And if you can afford to, pay off your balances every month, okay? That is how you avoid paying interest. Interest, let me talk a little bit about interest, because a lot of people have some misconceptions around that as well. So interest is basically a percentage that they charge you for using their money, okay? There's a way to avoid it. Like I said, if you pay off your balances every month, you can avoid paying interest. However, if you maintain balances on your credit card, they will be charging you interest on the balance every month, okay? That means if you have a 25% interest rate, APR is what they usually name it as, they are charging you 25 cents for every dollar, okay? That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's $25 for every $100 you spend. That's $50 for every $200 you spend. That's $250 for every $1,000 you spend, okay? So interest matters, okay? The better your credit score is, the lower they'll charge you in interest, okay? I have been given interest loans as low as interest rates as low as like 8%, even 0% in some cases. A lot of credit cards, especially student credit cards, they'll give you basically 0% APR for like 9 to 18 months, okay? That is a trick, okay? It is a trick. You need to remain disciplined. You need to remain disciplined for the life of your credit card, okay? The reason why I say this is because they'll give you 0% interest for 18 months, meaning they won't charge you any interest for 18 months. And at the end of the 18 months, the interest rate starts, okay? This is the trick. For that 18 months, you're spending. If you're not paying the balance off every month, it's going to keep going up, until at the end of the 18 months, you're here, then the interest rate starts, and then you'll be here, okay? So you don't want to owe people more money than you have to. Why not just take the money, pay it off? Take the money, pay it off. You have the money in your pocket. The credit is to build so that you can have the opportunity to have more, the opportunity to have houses, the opportunity to have cars, the opportunity to have credit cards. Credit cards are a blessing. They are definitely a blessing, because in a time like coronavirus, COVID-19, where you may lose your job, you know, who knows when they're shutting things down again. This is the time where you need credit, because it allows you to make it, you know, to basically give yourself a little bit more room to spend if you need it, you know, but it's important to stay disciplined with your spending, okay? All right, so below 30%, never miss a payment. Like I said before, if you have to miss a payment, communicate with your credit card company so they know, okay, you're missing this month. Can we work out something so that it doesn't pull to my credit? You know, actually speak to them directly and tell them the truth. You're not trying to have a late payment on your credit because it impacts your credit score negatively, okay? Don't spend if you don't have the money. A good rule of thumb is to use your credit every month. You know, if you have a $500 credit card, use it. Don't use the whole thing. Like I said, don't keep it below 30%. Even if it's just $20, oh, use it for gas. You know, use it for gas. Make sure you pay that off every month, because you're paying interest on gas, which is already going up. another tip that I have for you guys is to not close accounts. So if you have an account that a credit card you're not using, even if you're not using it, I would still consistently use it, even if it's just $20, because paying, the thing about credit I want people to understand is that they're tracking how many payments you're making on time, okay, and late. They're keeping track of how many payments you make on time and late. So if you're not using the credit card, you're not making payments, which means you're not building your credit. So you may have good credit, but they won't give you anything else because you don't have a history of making payments on time. Okay? Another tip that I have for you guys as far as building credit, if you have no credit or you have bad credit, okay? Invest in your credit. By that, I mean apply for a secured credit card, okay? Let me explain what that is. So a secured credit card is basically, instead of the bank fronting you the money, you're fronting yourself the money, okay? Meaning you have to do, if you want to do a $300 credit card, you have to front the bank $300 to secure your credit card. And that $300 will remain for the life, you know, and after a year, I believe you can turn it to a regular credit card and you get your money back. But basically, the $300, you will always have $300 of credit. Meaning, if you pay it off every month, you will always have that extra $300. 30%, guys. 30%. That's like $190, something like that. Okay? So you will always have that $300 secured, as far as you can swipe and you can pay it off. You can swipe and pay it off and build your credit, but you're doing it on your own dime. The only annoyance about secured credit cards is that you're securing the credit card with money, but you're also having to pay every month on top of that. Meaning you secure it with the security deposit, okay? And then if you spend money, you have to pay that off or they will charge you interest, okay? So secured credit cards aren't the best as far as like long term. Like, it's kind of like annoying to have to do, but when you have no credit or bad credit, it's a great tool to use to rebuild and boost your credit, so that you are consistently showing that you can pay things on time and that you know how to make payments on time. Okay? If you have any other questions around anything that I'm talking about, feel free to comment those below. I will reply directly to you, so that I'm making sure that if there's any confusion around what I'm explaining, I want to make sure I clarify that. Okay? So it takes about 6 months to a year of consistent monthly payments to show that you know how to pay bills on time or early. So the thing is that another thing you can do to boost your credit is to make more than one payment a month. So instead of paying the monthly, whatever it is, the monthly, however much you paid, if you're paying it off, if you're deciding not to pay it off, do more than the minimum, okay? Because you're hitting at your interest when you do that. The more over the minimum you do, the better, because you can really get your score, get your balance lower and lower every month. The minimum, it will take you forever to pay off your balance. If you have a high balance, it will take you forever to pay off your balance if you are just paying the minimum. So I definitely recommend that people always pay more than the minimum. The more the better, okay? It takes 7 years to get a great credit score. So that's a long time for a lot of people, meaning we need to start early. We need to start early. I started building my credit at the age of, I want to say 16 to 18, probably 18, because 18 is when you're legally supposed to sign up for credit cards. So I started building my credit with a Fingerhut account and a secured credit card. Those were the two things that I used consistently for a year. After that year, I was approved. My score was up to 700. Which is very good. You know, I didn't miss any payments. I still to this day have not missed any payments for my credit. My credit score as far as payments has always been good, because that's something I always prioritize. I make sure I pay my bills and I pay them on time, because I know how much that it can impact your score for the bad. Okay? So what I was going to say is, the thing is, because it takes 7 years to build great credit, to really establish a full, complete credit history, don't close accounts that you are not using. Okay? Even if you're not using it, keep the account open because it's adding to your length of how long your credit has been showing. Okay? So if you close that account, it basically, it can reduce your score first. That's first and foremost. It does reduce your score a little bit, but on top of that, it shuts off more time that could have been added to your credit history, which needs to be 7 years and above to get to great credit. Okay? So don't close accounts that you're not using unless it's a situation where it's like you have too many credit cards and it's getting out of control. I would close the card that you open last. Keep the card that you've had the longest and keep it consistently use it, because it will show how you can continue to pay and make payments on time, pay things off on time if you can. Okay? Anything that shows up on your credit, I already talked about that. Address it directly. Let's see. Just some time frames to keep in mind. Like I told you, it takes 7 years to build great credit, to show a complete full credit history. 7 years, a collection stays on your credit for 7 years. Inquiries, like basically someone pulling your credit score. You don't want people pulling your credit score more than necessary. So like if you're buying, okay, so here's a tip for you guys. If you're buying car shopping, do not let them pull your credit until you are absolutely sure that is the company that you want to buy a car from. Okay? And also look at your credit score on Experian or Credit Karma before, because I'll be honest with you, you need to have your credit in a good, fair to good range. So that means, I believe it's like 580 and above in order to buy a car, because they don't feel comfortable. That's financing or leasing, not buying in full. If you're buying in full, go right ahead. You don't have to wait for anything. But if you are leasing or financing and applying for that, you need a credit score that is fair or good or great. So you need it 580 and above, I believe. So that's something to keep in mind. Do not let them pull your credit unless you are sure that is where you're buying your car from, okay? Another thing that stays on your credit, bankruptcy. If you have to file for bankruptcy, okay? I can talk about this more in a different video because I need to do more research around how bankruptcy goes. But from what I understand, bankruptcy stays on your credit score for 7 to 10 years. Meaning from the point that you file, 7 to 10 years from there, then that will be removed from your credit score. So that is an extremely long time, because if you are 18, 19, 20, hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, so late payments also stay on your credit for 7 years. So does bankruptcy, like I said. And then the thing that I want, last tip I want to give you guys to think about is that ask around, you know, your friends, your close friends. See, you know, who has good credit. If you don't have good credit, ask friends to see if they may have good credit. Because the thing is that this is something I have done for friends before. I'm not willing to do it for random people just because it's too much. You're dealing with sensitive information. But you can ask someone who has great credit, good credit, who consistently pays their payments on time, who you trust, if they'd be willing to add you on as an authorized user on one of their credit cards, okay? This doesn't mean that you need to use a card. I would say have them add you as an authorized user, but they keep the card. You don't need the card because you should not be using someone else's credit without their permission. That's first off. The reason for adding you as an authorized user is because now their credit history will pull to your credit history and boost your credit and make it look like you had a credit history of 3 years, 5 years, however long they've had that credit card for. Some things to consider with that. You want this to be a very trustworthy person. You want this to be a reliable person. And you want this to be someone who you feel, you know, truly wants to help you build your credit. And this is a big ask of someone. I'm not gonna lie. It is a big ask because it's basically connecting your credit with theirs. And basically, if that person misses a payment, that will pull to your credit score now. You know, so you want it to be someone who is very reliable, who knows how to pay their bills on time, who you won't have to worry about those things with. But that is a way for you to add to your credit history and boost your credit history if you don't have any or if you have bad credit, okay? So that is pretty much all the tips that I have for you guys right now. If you guys know of any other great tips, feel free to comment them below. Knowledge, you have to share it, guys. You have to share it. You know, it's unfair to keep knowledge to yourself, because I truly believe that this world should be built on passing on the knowledge that we need so that we can continue to grow, continue to excel, continue to succeed, you know, especially in the Black community, especially in the Black community. I'm sharing this message with you guys now because there's too many of my mentees who do not know this information, who have never been exposed to this information, okay? So I hope that this video helped you on your journey to building great credit. If you guys have any comments, any questions, comment them below. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, comment what type of videos you're looking for, just so I know what kind of things to feature in my next videos. And subscribe so you can see more of this information that I'm passing on. I'm trying to make sure I'm adding value with every single video that I put out. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Just joshing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins. Sports in the top 10.